I want to watch this video because it came up on my YouTube recommended, and I watched, full disclosure, I watched the first like 30 seconds and I was like, holy crap, this is a good video. I might be Josh Strive Hayes' biggest fan or biggest new fan or something. Every time I see this guy pop up on my YouTube recommendeds or YouTube shorts, I'm like, he has something good to say. And this is a video titled Why I Don't Like Retail WoW. Which seemed, based on the title, somewhat pessimistic, but just hear him out on the first like 30 seconds. That's all I've watched, but we'll watch the full 10 minutes and see what he has to say.
How do I feel about questions? They sicken me deeply. Josh, how come you're the one sane enough to not play Midnight? I'm not going to insult people for liking or not liking any element of a game. I don't personally have any interest in retail. If you want to play Midnight, go for it. That's entirely up to you. I wouldn't.
Instantly based, right? There's logic happening here. Like right away, he's saying, look, if you enjoy it, go play it. That's awesome. Like instantly, there's no need to hate on someone doing something that you don't like. You can just let them do it. There we go.
Say that playing Midnight makes you insane. I know that it's a joke. You're just saying, you know, why am I not insane enough to play that? But I kind of really want to push back every now and again whenever there's I don't want to make a joke at the expense of another person. And I think saying that people that are playing the Midnight release are insane it makes them the butt of the joke. I don't want to do that. What is it?
I love this guy, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why it's like retail sucks. If you play that, it's like yeah, we need more of this, man. This is fantastic. I love it, bro. I don't like retail. This is why, but it doesn't mean other people can't enjoy it. Love it, man. Love it.
About retail that I don't find appealing. My first experience with retail was I jumped in when Battle for Azeroth happened. And I immediately got told that I was the hero of Azeroth, super important, had to heal the planet by mining Azerite to fix the wounds, and I was a champion and everything was amazing, and someone said to me, hey, you should go and kill the Lich King. So as soon as I got flying, which was very quick, I flew all the way to Northrend, soloed the entire Icecrown Citadel, killed Arthas in like 3 hits, and didn't get the Invincible Reigns. And someone went, oh, that's a shame, you've got to do that every week from now on forever. And I thought, the pacing of this is terrible. I have absolutely no connection to what's going on here. It is...
That's a fair criticism,
I felt it was so badly paced. I felt it was focusing entirely on mechanics over narrative. I felt...
Yeah, that's true.
That it was the continuation of a story that I wasn't part of or involved in any way. And I didn't feel connected to it.
That's very
fair, the mechanics of retail... You know what? We're okay. They were fine for what they were.
Yeah.
I didn't really vibe with retail when I started playing it because it felt like I was getting involved in... You know when you're a kid and you're at school and you're on the playground during playtime and there's a bunch of other kids who are playing a game and you don't know the rules to the game, you just want to join in. That's what playing retail WoW felt like to me. I didn't feel like I was being ingratiated into a group. I didn't feel like I was being involved in something. I felt that there was an ongoing game, an ongoing story that had already happened, that wasn't taking the time to ingratiate me into it, that wasn't taking the time to show me why I should or shouldn't care. And they were like, come and do this, now do this, now do this, now do this.
Yeah.
And as fun as it was for a bit, I started to realize that I didn't have any emotional connection to it. So
these are like very fair criticisms. And like he said, the mechanics are really fun. Like most people say, the end game of retail is very fun. The Mythic Plus is very fun. The raids are amazing, right? But the people that are connected to their characters are usually the ones that have been playing since WoW was like classic, right? Since TBC or Wrath or Kata or classic 2004 like myself, right? And then the people that are coming in later often have this same exact feedback. So Blizzard, if you're out there, like this is the feedback of a lot of people that are just coming in. It's like, why do I care? I'm just being shoved all of this and speed leveling and it's just like way too much, way too fast. You're not invested, and it's like then you just kind of lose interest. Whereas Classic seems to be generating a lot of new player interest because it's like it makes you care, right? So I think this is a really good distinction. Once again, just to go back, if you're enjoying retail, that's awesome, right? These are just very valid criticisms from the perspective of a new player.
Oh, I just didn't really kind of vibe with that. When everyone is the savior of the world, how is the world still in danger? When everyone has destroyed, massive titans. I also think that I really did genuinely try to keep up with WoW's story. I actually bought the big kind of Warcraft encyclopedia, the compendium. I bought the book and I tried to read all of it. And I thought, okay, cool. So this starts with the Titans, and then you get the Lich King, and then you've got all of these elder gods and the old ones, and that's all happening. And after reading all that, they were like, actually, no, it's the jailer. The jailer's much more important than all of this. But oh no, it's actually the Emerald Dream. But oh no, it's actually now about Aztec dinosaurs.
This happens to, like, we talked about this the other week. This happens to any story that's ongoing and that doesn't have a finite end, right? You can have really incredible stories that are written and it's like, wow, these are great, but then they usually end, right? One of the problems modern WoW faces when it comes to story is the fact that it's 20 something years old, and every 2 years or year and a half they need to have a new expansion with a new selling point with the continuation of a story that, let's be honest, like, you kind of do have to make up a new bad guy. Or like, I'm not really too into like Dragon Ball Z or whatever, but like I watched it as a kid and I thought it was pretty cool. But now with like DB Super, I don't know if you guys like that or not, but like they have to continually just keep putting a new and scarier villain out there and like keep leveling it up. That's just the way it goes if you have an ongoing continuing story. I agree with Josh. It kind of makes you feel like, okay, well, there's just going to be another more powerful guy next year, right? But that's like also the nature of an ongoing story. Like if you want a really good story, that has to be like this finite, tight-knit thing that like just ends, and they don't want to just end the story on retail. So you're caught in this catch-22, right? Do you want the really good story that like ends, or do you want a continuation of a story that never ends but like also means that you're going to have to keep leveling up the bar? That's just kind of how it works. And yeah, so Karthok in the chat brings up what we talked about last week, which is TV series. How many TV series have you guys watched that are like really good stories, and then they kind of keep them going on for an extra season or 2 or 3, and then it just sucks because it's like, this should have just ended, but they didn't want to end it because they were making money, so of course they're going to keep it going, but like now the story just sucks because you're just making stuff up now. This is very, very popular, and this is exactly kind of what WoW's going through. It's like, you kind of need to keep making stuff up because people are invested, but you don't want to just end it. But if you keep making stuff up, the story's going to feel kind of whatever. So that's the catch-22 we're in.
That are here. But oh no, actually there's been Azerite within the planet all along that we've got to fix, and oh no, it's actually this, and oh no, it's actually that. And I'm thinking, I was kind of behind Arthas, the Lich King, because I got the idea of Arthas, and I think there was a personal connection because I did play Warcraft 3.
That makes sense.
But it just suffered so much from plot creep, scope creep, that I struggled to care. There's only so many times I can be told this next threat is the most world-ending threat we've ever faced before I think, you know what, at this point, just get like 5 random people from a Goldshire in, it will be enough. A good way of putting it, like you say, is a narrative arms race. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I don't think it was a bad game at all. Mechanically, it was fine. I just struggled to connect with it narratively. I know people are joking, oh, you're not even reading the stuff here when you're in the dead mines. I am behind the scenes, obviously. I'm trying to work out what's going on. Means you're getting old, too much stuff to follow. I don't mind having a story to follow. It just didn't feel good to try and keep up with it. I felt
think they're
like
valid criticisms, yeah.
Keeping up with it was pointless. The lore in this game is not handed to you. Wispy, I don't want it to be handed to me. I just want it to be consistent. I don't want to spend ages worrying about the old gods and then being told, it was all the jailer's plan. I don't want the lore to be handed to me. I want the story to actually matter. And if you tell me, hey, the planet's in trouble again, I'm like, all right, can we just get a couple of people that saved it last time? Also, when they say the story isn't handed to you in this game, it literally is. I'm sure that the World Saga plan is there. I meant as in it's not obvious. I think I personally vibe with adventures when the adventurers themselves are less powerful, substantially less powerful than the thing they're fighting against. And the victory is achieved through being smart and through teamwork and through understanding and through grit and through determination. Not because you're like the most powerful thing ever. And I guess what I thought about retail was that everyone is so bloody powerful all the time. I like not necessarily.
Well, I mean, I know he's not really talking about actual difficulty. He's talking about like the narrative presentation of things, but like at some point in retail, they added in, I think it was just last expansion, they added in like story mode to kind of just like, all right, you kind of just come through and like you can see the whole story. So there isn't much like grit there. But I mean, if we're going to talk about grit, bro, there's mythic rating and stuff, right? Where it's like, okay, we're going to have to come together. This is not going to be killed by many people at all. And we're going to, yeah, I guess these are two different conversations though. Actual difficulty versus like the presentation.
Really lower stakes fantasy, but I like it when the stakes are at least somewhat relatable. I don't want to save the world unless I've got a reason to live in the world. And I think one of the things that retail WoW failed at with me personally was the very first thing it told me to do was save the world. What it didn't do
was care about it.
Give me a personal reason that the world needed saving beyond being told it needed saving. If you want me to save the world, give me a world that I love. And
that's a fair criticism. That is so true. So once again, I feel like the people that love and care about WoW oftentimes fell in love with it in like Wrath or Kata or MoP or TBC or Classic. Like they fell in love with it then, and then not everyone, because I know there's people that started in the last year or two. I'm not talking everyone, but I'm talking like large majority here. Seems like they fell in love with the game when they had a reason to care about the world. And then as things progress, they do care about the world and they do want to save it because they cared from back in the day. But for a new player like a Josh that's coming in and it's like, oh, let's do this thing. It's like they haven't fell in love with the world yet. So I think this is a very, very valid criticism.
I will want to save it purely out of principle. If you just tell me that the world is in danger and I have to save it, it just feels like going to work. You don't need to tell the audience that they should want to save something if you have spent the time to establish that thing as a thing they can love. But ESO basically does the same. Yeah, Nina, I also didn't vibe with ESO. I mean, it's not a gotcha to say, but another game did the same thing. Yeah, they both suck. The fact that you meet Lyris Titanborn and she immediately swaps her position with the Prophet, and you're like, we must go and save Lyris. Why? I've spent like 5 minutes with her. I have no idea who she is. I find your view interesting because I don't care about the story at all. Thus, it never occurred to me that someone could not like WoW based on that. If I'm going to play something that's just mechanically interesting, then yeah, sure, WoW is mechanically fine at what it does. But if I'm just engaging with it mechanically, then I'm going to want to try and engage with mechanics that I personally enjoy slightly more. And I enjoyed the mechanics of Neverwinter more than I enjoyed the mechanics of WoW. So retail WoW didn't grab me because it just... I think I was... Before I tried retail WoW, the only things that I had to really go off were the stories that my friends had told me about these social community 40-man raids where they would, hang out and eat pizza and enjoy, drink your fizzy drinks and pizza in the evening, and they were, going to kill the Lich King, and the end of the Warcraft 3 story was basically finished, and they were loving all that, and it was this beautiful moment of kind of collective community closure, if you will. And then I played it and it said, Battle for Azeroth. And I thought, okay, cool. Maybe it's going to be the Alliance versus the Horde. Maybe it's going to be... Because the Battle for Azeroth key art was literally just an Alliance guy and an Orc guy at each other's faces. They were clashing again. That was brilliant. And I thought, okay, back to basics, back to simplicity. we're just fighting the Alliance versus the Horde, and I can get behind that. I can understand that conflict. And then I installed it, and I started to play it, and straight away it was Mayan dinosaurs. And I don't mind Mayan dinosaurs, but the fact that it was the battle for Azeroth has begun, the Alliance versus the Horde, travel to this new area, and now team up with the other side again and go and fight skeletal dinosaurs. What? I don't want that. I don't mind the fact the Alliance and the Horde storyline doesn't make any sense anymore. I felt that you'd sold me one thing and then I ended up experiencing another. Yeah, and those expansions, the problem, they weren't an onboarding point. They assumed you were already very familiar with the story. And they were like, it's not just the Alliance versus the Horde. The old gods are going to get involved. I'm like, okay, who are the old gods? Oh, you should already know. Didn't you do all those raids where you fought them? No, I didn't. I was hoping that this expansion would be a moment to join. And I joined and you were like, oh, you should already know all this. Well, I didn't. I think that Battle for Azeroth was...
I think these are all very valid criticisms. So my brain then is geared and aimed towards, well, how do you fix them? And like I said previously, it's a tough one, right? Bro, look at this. You go into WoW right now. Here's the game. Okay, look, here's the map. I right click and you see more of the map. I right click again and you see more of the map. I right click again, you see more of the map. I right click again, you see more of the map. I right click again, you see all these worlds. It's such a big, there's no way you could just come in. It's a hard task for Blizzard to just give us the narrative, give us a reason to care at this point in the game. That's kind of my point with the TV series that went on way longer than it was supposed to or something. It's you're in a spot where it's just kind of tough. There is the world is massive, bro. What is the solution? I don't really know. Someone in the chat said Necrit had a suggestion where you would level through all of the zones, but quickly, so you kind of cared about more of these places. But dude, there's so many. I don't even what would you spend 4 minutes in each zone? You know what I mean? It's I actually just don't know. I understand the criticism, but I don't know if there's a practical, real solution that Blizzard could just go, oh, let's do this, and it would fix everything. The problem is that the game is so big, but it's just because it's 20 years old, 22 years old, right?
Was a difficult point for me to join Retail WoW, because even though it was an expansion and I joined early on in the expansion, it felt like the end of something. The start of Battle for Azeroth felt like it was the end of a storyline that I had, I was meant to have already been involved with. And I met all these characters and I had no idea who they were. You appreciate my use of smiley faces. Look, I'm a boomer. Apparently. Mentally I am. Physically I'm a millennial. But apparently, mentally and digitally, I'm a bit of a boomer. So I still use what I refer to as emoticons. Every now and again. I still type in the good old emotes.
I love this guy.
Can I just point something out? I find it really weird when people do the smiley face the wrong way around. It's meant to be colon, end parenthesis.
Yeah.
When someone does open parenthesis colon, insane behavior. Utterly insane behavior.
I agree with that. Dude, dude, Josh might be my new favorite, YouTuber, streamer. I love this guy, man. Good, sane, base takes. He's not hating on anything. He's giving valid criticisms and saying, if you like it, that's awesome. Here's why I didn't. This guy's awesome. No, I agree, guys. Colon and then the parenthesis, not the other way around. Guys, don't do that. Don't do that. I completely agree. Anyway, this is one of the reasons why I'm so excited for Classic Plus. I know that Classic can bring in new players because it did in 2004 and it continues to do so today, and people seem to like it and enjoy it. But the problem with Classic is it's the same darn content. At the end of the day, how many times can you replay the same content? So we get that old world, we get the new content. Now they are going to face the same problem. Say Classic Plus comes out this year. In 10 years from now, you face the same issue that retail faces today. In that the world can't expand too much. The story can't expand too much, or else you're going to have the same problem 10 years ago. And I know it sounds crazy for me to be concerned about year 2036, but I really am. I want WoW to be good in 10 years and 20 years. So I'm thinking about that kind of stuff. right? And it's like, how would we make Classic Plus good in 10 or 20 years from now? It's like, okay, well, let's design it in a way where the world doesn't become this, and the world stays just Kalimdor Eastern Kingdoms, and you kind of keep people invested in that world without flying, with reusing a lot of the same zones that could be expanded upon without doing this, right? So there's so much to learn here. Anyway, I really enjoyed the criticisms. We'll definitely be giving that one a thumbs up from Josh. That's awesome. And I just love how respectful he is. He's not hating on it. He's thinking and providing feedback. So cool, man. Cool.